This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. Parental discretion is advised.
What do? I keep it real with Shorty and my crew. Didn't want to kill him, so instead of putting the Mac on him, I did the only thing I could do, turn my back on him.
Here we go, Barflies. We're back with another Barfly Tailgate show. You already know it's done by Barflies, for Barflies, and all the other Bears fans out there. Well, it's almost here, boys. It's the return to Decatur. Bourbonnais, the Bears will be suiting up in camp tomorrow. We had a little interview today. Well, we didn't. But, the Bears had a little interview with Nagy and Pace on the return to Decatur. We'll get into talking about that. We'll talk about some, camp battles and, the year two things in the system, we'll call them. Year two with a offensive line coach. We got a brand new defensive coordinator. We got a brand new secondary coach. We got our second year head coach. We got Mitch 2.0. We got all that. But before we get started, we got my boys in the bar room. They're here on the Tailgate Show ready to kick it. First one we got is Ryan KB. Ryan Kirkland Billings. This dude, he studies. He's ready. He's, always ready to go. KB, what's up, brother?
What's going on, boys? Man, it's been a little minute, man. We ain't been able to talk football the way we want to. Boy, I'm happy Cap's going to start off. I'm ready to get the season started.
Yeah, for sure, man. Eventually there's just nothing to talk about. You got this dead period and whatever, and we ain't been talking much football, and we've been talking a lot of dumb shit, kind of like the national media with this kicker thing. It seems like that's all they're going to fucking talk about. But either way, we're back in action. We're going to have this week of camp, and then we'll have next week. And a bunch of us, a bunch of barflies and barroom talents are going out to camp. So should be good, man. We know Greg Braggs has got the handcuffs on this year. The Bears came out and said that no media can be taken from camp. We'll see how Greg Braggs Jr. pulls this one off. I'm guessing he's going to walk the line, though, and be a good kid, but we'll see. All right, next one we got is Aaron Current. AC in the place to be. AC, what's up, brother?
What's going on, fellas? We got 18 days till our first preseason game. Not that anybody's counting down or anything. I'm super pumped to talk ball with y'all, and I'm just ready to go, fellas. I'm just ready to go.
Yeah, definitely, man. We got this potentially, if you're going to camp and doing, some other things around town and that, and this is your last Sunday without football. NFL, we're coming. It's coming hot, baby. These Bears are about ready to do it and get at it. And last but not least on the show today, we got Badge. Ryan Badgley, my boy. He's always here, always ready to bring it. He's doing all kinds of new things at the bar room from his segments of Badge of Honor. He's going to host Draft on Tap with Barlissimo. All those going to stop in and join in from time to time. Danny Shimon's going to be there. They're rocking it, man. Those dudes are going to bring it. All kinds of exciting things coming his way. Badgley, what's up, brother?
Oh, what's up, fellas? I'm gonna channel my brother Gaines here and get a hallelujah, because it is football season, baby. It's about time.
Yo, that was a straight Catholic fucking prim and proper church that you just read off there, man. We know the place is jumping and people are screaming when Gaines is in there singing that Sunday sermon. Yeah. All right, boys, let's get this thing started. And right on cue, I just got a message from Gaines. But either way, let's get this thing started, man. It was the return to Decatur. If you guys haven't caught it yet, it just came out. We're recording this on Sunday night, so it just came out about an hour ago. I know the boys on the show here, we've all watched it. If you haven't caught it yet, check it out. Go to the Bears app, go wherever you need to go, but it'll be out there soon. You guys will be able to, to get a listen to the questions and that, and basically the day before camp and how everything went. We're going to touch on some things here that they talked about, and I think one of the biggest things that people, a lot of people were surprised about was they said that Clinton Dix will be starting on the PUP list. I know during OTAs there was I believe it was a right, like a little knee banger with his right knee. Him and somebody else, their knees collided, and they said he's got a little, I don't know if they actually said contusion, but either way, a little knee injury, and they're going to start him out on the PUP list. Let's start with KB. KB, what you thinking, man? You think this is just a way to protect him, or you think it's something deeper than what they're actually telling us?
Man, I'm going with I'm hoping that it's just something that is small. And it's just one of the things you don't have to do this right now. You're a vet. You've been doing this for a while. We don't need you to come out here and make it worse. So I'm erring on that side because I want our season to start off injury free, man. No major injuries, none of that, because then that plays into the national media. Oh, they're taking a step back. Their players are hurt. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody's gonna channel that energy out this way. So, yeah, man, it's precautionary. That's all it is. It's small. It's not serious.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you. I mean, I think it's something small, but I think it also looking at the big picture of it, right? I won't say that there's not a lot of depth, right? But we know that they're behind. There's not much comparable talent.
It's Deion Bush.
Yeah, and I mean,
next man up.
Yeah, and it's guys that we've seen in the past, right? And once Amos left, we would have been. If we were happy with those guys, we wouldn't have been screaming to get somebody else in here, And there's still people, you still see stuff come out with, hey, this safety's available, this one's available, and to get a little more added depth behind and so I think it could be something precautionary where they're like, hey, if this dude goes down, we don't really have a solid chess piece to throw into his place. Badge, what are you thinking, man? What are you thinking on the whole starting off on the pup and, what that does to the team, or what does it do to chemistry in camp where that defense could get together and kind of, they call the shots together, they move together, and they know their assignments?
Yeah, man, I definitely think it's 100% precautionary. I mean, we saw it last year all season long. If a guy was a little banged up, they sat him. Khalil Mack for 2 weeks. I mean, normally, you would see the guy with an ankle sprain like that. Hey, it's an ankle sprain. I'm going out. I'm playing. And he sat for a couple weeks. So I think it's precautionary with obviously, if they thought Deion Bush was somebody that, they were really high on, they wouldn't have made this move, by signing and bringing him in here. So,
yeah.
To me, if this is something serious, I think you would have saw a signing. Eldo mentioned it last week on 100 Proof. Trey Boston's still out there. If it were something serious, you would have saw him most likely brought in or some sort of move. I think it's precautionary. I mean, they're calling it a sprain. I mean, if I remember correctly, I want to say he collided with like Roquan or something like that.
Yeah, it was something kneecap to kneecap. I forget exactly what it was because they didn't make a big deal of it, but it was something that was like, two kneecap. I mean, they're in shorts. They don't have pants. I won't say they don't have pants on, but they don't have football pants on.
Yep.
And something was going down, and they're like, they just ran into each other. I want to say it was Haha's right and Roquan or whoever it was coming the other way, and they just banged right kneecaps together.
Yeah, man. So, precautionary, all this, Amos, talk all off season, man. I just want to see him ready for week 1. So if it's sit him for training camp, fine. He's a veteran in the league at this point. I'm sure he knows the system well enough to where if he sits out the preseason, it shouldn't be that big of a factor.
Yeah, and I could agree with you, but there's a couple things that still bother me, right? You got a new DB's coach in there, in Deshae Townsend. You got Chuck Pagano, not brand new defensive coordinator, but brand new to us defensive coordinator, right? And Haha's the new, ultimately he's the new piece to the defense, right?
Very true.
Everybody else is returning, so how much chemistry does he actually have with these guys right now? How much does he know who ticks which way? If a guy does this, I'm going to do that. AC, we'll come over to you. Maybe it isn't really that big of a deal in camp. But it's added time, right? And it's lost reps. No matter how you look at it, I think we can say it's not a big deal, but all in all, it is some lost playing time with the defense and with shifting and with calling things and just learning to play with each other and knowing what's going on. What do you think? You think this is a big deal for him to miss camp, or do you think as long as he's ready for the preseason, he'll get that time back and be able to do what he does there?
Honestly, when I first saw it, I was really worried. But Ryan and Badge have done a great job of kind of talking me back off the ledge. this guy, he doesn't have as far as I remember, he doesn't have a long history of injuries or being injury prone or anything like that. So I'm thinking he can bounce back. And on top of that, this regime doesn't really play the starters very much in the preseason, so he's not going to miss live preseason reps as much as John Fox's team would have played those starters as much as, the way it used to be. Now with this new regime, we run it the way the Rams run it, and that seems to be the way things are heading in the NFL. So he might miss a few reps, but he'll be there in meetings, and he's a professional. This ain't his first rodeo. I think he's gonna be all right.
Yeah, I think he will too, man. But of course, I'm gonna throw it out there and not be the negative, but just kind of be a little realistic that,
Devil's advocate.
Yeah, OJT, man. OJT on the job training. I mean, when you get to learn the people around you and maybe I won't say what their weaknesses are, but what their tendencies are, and who does this, who does that. Those are things that he does not know right now. And camp isn't always, well, I won't say isn't always, it's never, we'll get into that in a little bit, but it's never a defensive camp. You know what I mean? You see the ball.
Exactly.
It's like a 7-on-7 type thing, and you just see the ball slung like crazy. You hardly see any running. You see a lot of flashy catches and stuff like that. And, and Nagy came out last year and said that they told Mitch that he will throw to certain people when they were working on the defensive piece. They wanted certain passes thrown, and they wanted to test the coverage of certain guys. And some guys did good and got picks, and some guys didn't. And the ball was completed. It just turned into a jump ball process. So I know last year it came out, people were like, "Oh, Mitch threw 4 interceptions today."
Yeah, dude.
Remember? And then Nagy came out at the end, and he was like, "No,
hang on. Yeah.
I told Mitch to throw those balls to those people, no matter what. It was gonna go as soon as he cut from here to there or whatever." And that wasn't a decision he made. It's a decision we made for him to test our defense.
The funny thing, Bobby, about this haha thing, and I didn't mean to cut you off, man, but the odd thing to me is the Bears just this week released a OTA video with haha being mic'd up, and it's like, wait a minute, so you release this video earlier in the week, then you come out today and say that he's on PUP. So I just found it, I wasn't surprised because I knew about it. I was surprised they went PUP instead, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And in what you're saying, what kind of, what shocked me with him going PUP was that, like, so he had a minuscule injury, and we know Burton's coming off of surgery. We know Miller's coming off of surgery.
Man.
And those guys aren't on the PUP. So is this something, if it was just about protecting the player from a nagging injury or a little bit of something, I would have to say I would think that Burton and Miller might start on the PUP, but they didn't. So is this something that could be deeper, or is it like they said, no, those guys are, literally 100%, and we know this guy isn't, and we're going to sit him out. I know Nagy said, or not Nagy, I think Pace said it at the presser, that they're all going to come in and get physicals tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning physicals start, and we're going to get more news from there and see. But who knows, man? Maybe it's something, maybe it's nothing. I'm just glad that they're treating the player, like, I guess with regards to his contract, they're not literally protecting like a huge investment. They're treating the player like a fan, and we could be paying him pennies. If he's hurt, we're looking for the player's best interest, and not kind of like all of us were like, oh my God, Mac's is going to get paid this much next year and this much the year later. If he's hurt a little bit, you got to sit him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're literally looking for the player's best interest, man.
Yeah. And I'll add to that, Bobby, just so everybody knows, because there may be fans out there that doesn't. So just because you're put on the PUP in the preseason doesn't mean you're out for the first, 6 weeks of the regular season. The preseason has a PUP list. The regular season has a PUP list. So this doesn't mean he's missing any games or anything like that. He's just on it till he's healthy. He can come off.
Yeah, I want to say right now it's day to day, right? Is
Yeah.
Pup in camp day to day? I think it's day to day. I might be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure Pup in camp is day to day. And then
I think the only negative is once he takes the field, he can't go back to it.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I don't know. That's some shit we'd have to look into. Either way, you know, we're all the same when it comes to NFL rules, man. Well, fuck, we'd be lucky if we got somebody who knows half of it, and somebody else, we just kind of piece it together because, you know, why the fuck look? I mean, it's only gonna matter when times like this when we first find out, and you know, it's been a whole 20 minutes since the video ended. The second part of this, I mean, yeah, we got ha. Okay, we talked about it. I think he's gonna be fine. You know, I'll just end it like that. I think he's gonna be fine. I think they're protecting their drive. They're protecting their Super Bowl run, right? And they know that he's gonna be a key component to it. And why bring him out and even risk it when he can just, you know, chill out? Maybe the first day's a damn offensive day. Who knows? But something, you know, dude, like this whole kicking thing, this kicker thing. I won't call the guy out because I don't want people to shit on him or do, you know, or be an asshole about it, because the article was good and whatever. But somebody, I almost said his name on accident. Somebody came out with an article. I believe it was released today. I read it today, but it said, "Would you be willing to trade a number 1 overall pick for a kicker?" And the kicker they were talking about was Tucker from Baltimore. But would you be willing to trade a first round pick in 2021 for a kicker? I'm totally against this, you know, course of action. I know the media today, in this interview, the Return to Decatur interview, brought it up and said, "What would you be willing to do?" And of course, Pay said, "I will do anything that it takes to get the person that I want in here, and you know, and to get this team what they need in a kicker." But I really don't believe it. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he'll be willing to give up a first round pick for a kicker.
No way, dude. No way.
Yeah, I mean, AC, we can
not,
start.
Not a snowball chance, bro.
Yeah, I don't think so either. AC, we can start this one with you, man. I mean, I'm guessing, you know, 4th round at the most is what I would say.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll come over to you, man. This whole kicker thing, I'm honestly, like, granted, I'll talk about it because I know it's the news in Chicago and I know it's what everybody, you know, kind of wants people to touch on, but I'm sick of fucking talking about kickers. I say we roll with fucking Eddie Pinheiro. I say we leave whoever the second kicker that you decide is going to be, leave him there, leave him on the roster, and let the other guy know that he's got somebody breathing on his fucking ass if need be. But, go ahead, AC. I've talked enough, man. Give me your thoughts on this whole kicker thing.
Well, first of all, as far as a first round pick goes, it's not just a no, it's a hell no. There's no fucking way I'm trading a first round pick for a damn kicker. Actually, most of the time, I don't even think you should draft a kicker. Most of the NFL kickers are undrafted free agents or guys who get cut. So, I mean, there's no reason to trade a high pick of any sort for a kicker, even if they think that's the missing piece. I'm with you, though. I'd like to see them keep both Pinheiro and Elliott Fry, or if they find somebody else that they're interested in that gets cut, I don't know, during the preseason or at camp or something, bring one of those guys in. Have one of them on the roster and have one of them on the practice squad. They should have done that last year with Cody Parkey. You fuck up and hit the damn post 4 times in a game, this guy is coming in to take your spot next week, and that's it. I wouldn't trade for one. I'd like to keep what we got and keep moving forward with that.
Yeah, agreed, man. I was just reading the message and I started laughing. But I did, Badge. I did, and I don't know what came over me, but I muted and I said it, and then I unmuted, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck did I just do?
I'm sitting there like, okay.
But AC, you're right, man. I mean, I wouldn't give it up either. I think granted, I don't put 2 kickers on a practice squad either, though, or not on a practice squad. I don't put two kickers on an active roster. And like having that move from the practice squad to eligibility and eligibility to practice squad, it does leave an opening, right? So it's kind of hard to, I guess, harvest kickers like that. But I just don't see how we can't find a. I mean, I guess it's kind of shitty to say it's not fucking like a game, but I don't see how we can't find a guy who's like multi-talented. Like, why can't punters fucking kick, man?
Dude, I ask that question all the time. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, can't we find a guy that's just fucking, money and go? And I know that's the going joke and the going problem. And I think Pinheiro comes out. I honestly think we've added additional pressure to somebody to the kicking job in Chicago. Who the fuck else? What other team is talking about a kicker right now besides San Francisco? And that's because of Chicago. I mean, who is talking about kickers when camp hasn't even started yet? And they're worried about, doing that shit. Even when the Bills lost that game. Remember the Bills lost a fucking, was it a Super Bowl or was it a playoff game? They lost to the same scenario.
It was
kicker.
a Super Bowl, dude.
Yeah, I thought so. I just didn't want to say Super Bowl if I was wrong, but I knew it was right there. But there wasn't even much talk about that kicker after that shit. I mean, we blew this out of proportion. I put all of this on us. Granted, Parky's still getting paid, right? He's going to be getting paid, but we've taken this kicker thing, man, and we've made it into something humongous. And I know that it ended our season, and I get that, right? But Parky could have sealed it. Could have sealed the deal.
Yeah, man.
Well, it all goes back to cutting Robbie Gold. He's only missed like 3 kicks since he left Chicago.
No, he got cut from the Giants after us, right? And then he went somewhere else too.
He played the season out, and then they let him leave. But he's only missed 3 kicks since he's been gone, and ever since he's been gone, we've been talking about the kicker and how we can't find one.
Yeah, but I mean, what were we talking about when Robbie was here after he was missing all the kicks with us?
Yep.
They were talking about.
I'm not gonna lie. At that point, yeah, it was Robbie. Robbie looks like he needs to go, and that's what the story started to become.
Well,
Yeah,
he even
exactly.
said it helped him. Like, it helped him refocus, which I guess it worked for him. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying we've been talking about kickers ever since he's been out of town. That's my point.
Yeah, no, we have, but
Total.
we've also been fucking bringing in the whole carousel of kickers and not really putting much confidence into people. Parky would probably be the only one that we actually put confidence in, right? And I mean, years before that, we had like 4 different kickers, man. Like the one year we brought in Tampa Bay.
Dude. Yeah,
Tampa Bay's
Bus,
Ohio.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I was
KB.
really high. I never got what the whole thing was with Cairo Santos. I thought he was a good kicker.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just hurt when we got him. But I mean,
Absolutely.
I was waiting to kick the tires on him, give him a whole offseason to get back healthy. But then, we turn around and you got Cody Parkey coming in the building. It's like, what was wrong with Santos?
Yeah, I think it's because Fox couldn't say his name. What did he keep calling him?
Carlos Santos.
Yeah, Carlos Santos.
I like Santos too, though. He was good in KC.
Yeah, I mean, there's been guys that we could have taken a shot on, right? But I think we decided to commit to somebody, and he didn't do it. Now, do you guys honestly think? I'll throw one at you, and I know we're not going at the media anymore. We're not at the media, but talking about the interview right now. But I'll just start this one with Badge. So let's say Parkey doesn't miss that kick. Let's say we come down, right? And we need a touchdown to fucking win, and we don't get it. Either, I don't care what scenario it is, Mitch doesn't fucking produce the touchdown. Either whatever happens, right? I don't care what the scenario is. We don't get the touchdown. It doesn't come down to a kick. Is Cody Parkey on this team this year?
I would say no. And I would hope that the coaching staff would say the same thing. I mean, because after that game, you're, as the general manager, the head coach, the scouting staff, everybody else, you're looking at your roster and looking at where you need to improve. It's not like Cody Parkey just missed that kick. I mean, you can go back to I mean, he missed multiple times over and over again, and the Bears, they, for whatever reason, chose to not address it during the season other than forcing him to have to go to Soldier Field and kick. You look how that turned out. To me, he makes the kick, this team wins the Super Bowl. There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah. But obviously we're not there. We're not in that situation. And I think, Parkey, I don't think he's here whether he does the Today Show interview or not, but I think the Today Show interview made it that much easier for him.
But in this scenario, there, Mr. Badgley, yes, he doesn't have a kick, so the Today Show isn't fucking trying to talk to him.
But I still think he's gone. I still think he's gone. Yeah, 100%.
KB, what about you, man? You think if it didn't come down to a kick, if there was never a kick, right? I don't care. We win, we lose. It doesn't matter. If there was never a kick, is Parkey on this team right now?
Honestly, man, I think he is. I think they look at it and say, you know what? We won the Super Bowl. We invested this amount of money on him. Let's take this into the offseason and see how this goes. Yeah. Because, like I said, we invested in that man. If the kick didn't happen and everybody pointed the finger and say, you know what, man, it was you got to go. And then the show happened on the Today Show, then, you know what I'm saying, that's a whole different story. But, bro, like, if he makes that kick, you got to look at it. How do we feel as fans? You know what I'm saying, as fans at that point? Even if he would have made the kick or the kick never happened, whatever situation you want to put it in. Because one light, you can look at it. If it did come down to that kick and he makes the kick, then guess what? Cody Parkey's the fucking hero. It compounds the fact that my man kicked 3 field goals in that game up to that point, right? And he did this. So now we're all looking like fools up to that point, and we have to say, oh, this man got us to the next round. He's essentially the reason why we won the Super Bowl. But I mean, like, it all comes down to that, though. Like I said, I feel like he's still be on the roster because, like I said, we invested in him. I feel like they put that money into him. They weren't gonna cut him even if we made it past that point. So,
and I honestly think that is. I honestly think whether he say he made it, right, or say it just never came down to it. I'm not going to say whether or not, because he either makes it or it doesn't come down to the kick. I think Cody Parkey is on this team because of the monetary investment. I think they keep him because I'm not saying they wouldn't bring in some competition, right? But I would be 100% on board that they keep him just because of the money they have invested. And I know it's something that we hate to talk about or that we hate to look at in the fact of, hey, this guy's better. And I don't care how much you're paying that guy. This guy's fucking better. He needs to start. We've had that conversation for years. And just like, why does this guy keep going on the field? Just because this guy's making less doesn't mean that he shouldn't start over him. But it's a thing. It's a thing throughout the NFL. It's a thing that people do look at, or maybe they're just fucking, practice champions or practice squad or camp champs where they come out and they just fire it up, man. But I honestly think, I know we got way off topic here and I started a fucking tangent, but I honestly think if there wasn't a kick or the kick was made, that Cody Parkey is still on this team. And I think that fucking, we ain't even talking about this, even though the percentage and the amount of misses that he had, I think we're still rolling in saying that, hey, we're good with our kicker. He fucking, he had his problems, but he came through in the clutch and that's it. Let's move on to something else. I told you I hate talking about kickers, and you fuckers got me on this whole conversation. So Nagy was asked earlier, with this whole kicking thing, like, would he kick on third down? And I know we've heard it on like Hogan Johns, and we've heard it on a couple of shows where like, yeah, Nagy will kick a field goal on third down just to test his people. He said that he will not. He said today that you ain't going to see me kicking on third down. He's like, now you might see. He said you might see some questionable calls that I make in the preseason.
Yep.
And he's basically said, but that's what it's for. That's what the preseason's for. But you ain't going to see me kicking on third down. AC, we'll come around to you, man. What do you think about that? What do you think, like, do you think that these questionable calls are just big plays and things that he wants to try out? Obviously, he said
Yeah.
it won't be a kicker, but you think it's like a little bag of tricks thing, or do you think it's like, hey, maybe let's, I don't know, man. I'm shooting in the dark here. You tell me. What do you think? What do you think he's getting to here with these questionable calls?
I think Nagy, for those special plays like the Santa Slay and maybe giving a pass to Eddie Jackson, he's not going to do that in the preseason either because he doesn't want to tip his hand to the Packers week 1.
Yeah.
What I think maybe he's saying by questionable calls is he might try, a jet sweep with Cordero Patterson just to see how he gets around the edge, or a little, I don't know. Try one of those, see what Ryan Nall can do, or because that's, to me, that's what the preseason's for, is to see what your depth is, and see who's fighting for those depth positions, at least in our position, because we've pretty much got our starters in place. So see what our depth looks like at certain positions. I think that's what he's talking about as far as questionable calls. 3rd and 11. Let's run a draw with Kareth White and see if he can break out or something,
Yeah, I think so too. I think it could be. I think it's more not gimmicky stuff, right? Not like the special ones like we're talking about, and trick plays and that. But I think it's more of, normally on 3rd and 12, I wouldn't run this play. But let's see what happens here. Or like, hey, this play I drafted it up and I really like it, but I don't know if it fits the system that well. But let me go ahead and give it a shot. KB, what are you thinking, man, with questionable calls? You think it's more of him testing himself, like, because honestly, gents, like, I've always felt, and I know we've talked about it and all that in the past, but I've always felt like preseason and maybe it's, I mean, I coached football for years, and like scrimmage games, man, I test out shit, like hey, you guys know this play. I don't really plan on running it, but here it is. Let's give it a shot. Like, this is working in our favor right now. The safety is doing exactly what we want him to do in order to run this play. So let's go ahead and throw this in there and see what happens. And I think preseason's a lot more. Granted, it's definitely an evaluation period for players and who you want to make your 53, but it's also a testing phase for coaches to try things that they wouldn't normally try, or to get off of their main scripted, this is what I have to do type stuff, and to see where people grow in certain spots. KB, coming at you, man. What do you think?
So, man, I would have to agree with y'all on that, man. I feel like it's one of them things, like, if you're at like, maybe you 3rd and 20, you put like Kareth White in, you say, yo, we're gonna spread it out and run a halfback draw. I just want to see what you look like in the open field, or saying, get some of these other players in that we say are bubble players for the roster. Saying, see if they can make a play. Saying, like I said, try plays out that he might not be comfortable calling, or maybe it's something new that he thinks might work for Mitch, but he doesn't know yet. Who knows? Saying? That, to me, those go along with questionable calls. Things that you don't know. You don't know what the outcome of them might be. So I feel like that's what that is. I don't think he's going to put any crazy trick plays in preseason, because why? It's no point. But try some of these things that you don't know, man. To see exactly what your personnel can do, and call plays off of that. I think that's what he means.
It's just a testing water period, right? I mean, you get to test everybody. Speaking of camp and preseason and that, I know we got some time before the preseason kicks off. We got camp battles coming up, gents. Starting tomorrow, we're going to be looking at some big camp battles and things that we want, that we want to see. And actually, I mean, it's exciting. I think we all know that the defense is pretty much solidified, right? I think all of us are pretty solidified on the offense too, minus maybe tight end and a full offensive line, even if that's a thing or not. But camp battles are still going to be a thing for this 53 and for who you have in the reserves, and who's coming up behind who. Badge, let's start this thing off with you, man. Which camp battle, positional, so pick your group, but which camp battle are you most interested in seeing, and do you think, maybe in your perspective, holds the most weight in camp?
I got to be honest, man. It's that nickel spot for me. Buster Screen, Duke Shelley.
Damn it, Badge.
That's that spot for me, man. I'm pumped to really watch this play out. I know Nagy was high on Screen, obviously. Really, the Bears really jumped on him in free agency. They really wanted to get him in, but then you see them bring in a guy like Duke Shelley, friend of the show, Badge of Honor recipient.
Yeah, buddy.
You look at the guy, man. He's small, but damn, the kid can play ball, man. There's no doubt about it. So, I'm really excited to see that. And I'm going to be real honest with you here. If one of those guys isn't the nickel, are they a problem for Prince? Or is there a Kevin Tolliver? Does he, Prince is that guy? Shane said it. I mean, going back on 100 proof, last week, the week before, I agree with him 100%. Prince, I went back and watched a lot of game film this offseason, but watching even last season, when the tape was released, he was the guy to me that was the questionable part of this defense. And, whether it's Duke, Buster, Kevin Tolliver, I think John Franklin III's still there. There's, Prince is really going to have to hold his own, I think, this season to keep his job, man. So that DB spot, man, it's going to be awesome.
No,
Badge, before we
go ahead.
say, Badge, before we move on past that real quick, it's a thing on Prince. On that last drive where Amos had that unmentionable fucking play.
Yeah.
Didn't Prince get called for a holding?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I want to say it was the play before Amos. I could be wrong, but
it was.
Yeah,
they
were
allowed
within
him to
a
march
couple
down
plays.
the field.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that right there. And it wasn't just that game. There were other games where Prince, and there were times too where he didn't get called and should have got called. It's all, anybody can go back. It's all on NFL Game Pass. Go back, pop the coach's film. Shit, you don't even have to watch a coach's film. Just pop the game on, you can see it. So
yeah,
it's gonna be great.
You know what else? Something that I noticed, and I don't know if I talked to you about it, Badge. Maybe I talked to Shane about it. But so normally, right? Say you got your number one DB, whoever he is. I don't care what team you're talking about. It doesn't really matter. Your number one DB. Who does he normally line up on? Just anybody. It's an open question. Who do you normally?
He's going to be on usually your number one receiver.
Correct. The Bears didn't do that a lot last year.
They didn't really at all.
They didn't.
They did what Seattle did. They would keep Kyle Fuller on one side of the field and let him just lock that side of the field down instead of having him follow whoever the best wide receiver was.
Right, and take a little more going in depth on all the film and watching how many times they move and maybe tracking some stats on that. But if another team knows that, hey, they're not moving, if we see Kyle Fuller, if we see Kyle Fuller as our best DB, and the other team is like, hey, they're not moving their number one over to our number one, like, what the fuck? Like, okay, whatever, let's go pick on the other guy then. It's a thing, and I don't know why we weren't doing it. I noticed it in one of the, I think, you know what? Maybe I was talking to Phil about it. I noticed it at the damn Giants game, and I was like, why aren't we moving? Like, why is fucking Prince on OBJ right now?
Yep.
Yeah, like, what are we doing? Like, why isn't Fuller moving? Like, what's going on? And we were just kind of like, fuck, I don't know. And it's a thing, man. You're kind of, I won't say that you're setting him up for failure, right? Because you're not. That's his fucking job. That's what he should do. But on any other team, you're matching their number one with your number one, and you're matching your two with their two. And you don't have to have number ones on both sides. And guys need to be fucking humble enough or able to accept the fact that they're not a number one. I don't care if that dude tells you, no, I want OBJ right now, coach. Sorry, bitch. You can't fucking cover him. Like, I'm moving this dude over. My bad. Like, he's just going to have to eat it. But I think we might have put him in more predicaments than needed with the coverage thing. We might have, I won't say that we caused the holding calls because we didn't, but nobody wants to get burnt, so I see, okay, Prince grabs onto somebody and goes.
But you look at that, you expand on that, Bobby, and you look at a team like Minnesota, who technically has 2 number 1 receivers in Phelan.
Correct, yes.
And I mean, quite honestly, they had okay games.
They got shut the fuck down though.
The last game of the season they got shut down. I think Phelan had a really good game the first game, but I think they used him out of the slot more there in Chicago than Minnesota. They were fighting on the sidelines at the end of the game. Phelan and Cousins.
Yeah. And to get back to it, the whole nucleus, like the camp battle question. You look at Duke, man. I know we talked to Duke. We had him on the show. Duke, this is his first year playing nickel.
Yeah, man.
He's always been a cornerback. He's always been the outside defensive back. So I think you brought up a valid point, man. Like, who's to say that? I know the position they got him in, but who's to say that they don't just, okay, hey, Buster's doing fucking great at the nickel spot. Prince is, maybe lingering with this, or is just, maybe it's talent that's lingering. Who fucking knows, right? Maybe they're like, hey, Duke, go take the spot, man. Go take right side.
And you look at Prince too, Bobby, with there were multiple games too where he had some sort of little injury where he missed not significant time, but he missed, a series here, a couple series there.
Yeah.
Didn't miss any games, but so that and he's an older guy. So those little things last year could be more of a factor for him this year, on the injury side of things too, as he gets older. I mean, he's one of the older guys on the roster, I think, at this point.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, and nothing against Prince. I mean,
no, not at all.
It's just calling it like it is, man.
Yep.
And I think the guy has done great for that DB room. I think he's done great. I mean, I can't say that I'm definite that he's provided anything, right? But when you have guys like Duke Shelley on the show, and you hear guys like Kyle Fuller do interviews on All Access, everybody has something to say about how Prince and his veteran status and what he does, or how he conducts his own pregame stuff and his own workout and his own off-season stuff. And he's a respected player. He's not he's not pompous, and he's not doesn't come in with anything
that pick
crazy.
Against Seattle was, played the ball perfectly. He allowed Wilson to think he was dropping, and ended up having to avoid him to get in the end zone. So he's definitely a capable player still at this point. I don't want to make it seem like we're bashing him either. I just think we've got a little bit more talent in that room now.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. I mean, and we got some of these guys that we've been looking for the last year, year or two. These guys waiting in the wings, man, that we think can come out and ball out, and it's just it. I mean, it's a good problem to have, right?
Yep.
It's a good problem until one of these other guys get thrown into the fire and they fucking marshmallow up, then you're kind of worried about it.
Yeah.
Let's go to KB. KB, give me and I mean, I could feed you one, but I'm pretty sure I know where you're going anyway. Give me the next spot where you're looking at for camp battles. Who you think is going to be a spot that we need somebody to impress, or that you think is going to be that's kind of up for grabs right now?
I'm gonna say running back, okay? And this one, running back.
Maybe I didn't know where you were going.
Yeah,
motherfucker, you better pull out MapQuest and figure out where you're at.
So, I think we're all ignoring David Montgomery as number one. Okay, I think that's what the general consensus is. I think that's how everybody feels. They say
100%. I am.
he should be the number one, the feature back. But what if the Bears aren't looking at it that way and they think Mike Davis should be number one? What if we're not considering that fact that man might have been brought in? He could be the starter when we go against the Packers week 1. So
Okay.
So just looking at that, how would everybody feel about that? What would be the general consensus?
Ryan Pace spoke about him in that presser today, very highly of Mike Davis. So I don't think you're off base here. I mean, I too, along with Bobby, I mean, to me, I thought David Montgomery as well. But hearing Ryan Pace speak on Mike Davis today, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they went that route and it was Davis, that first play on offense as the back out there. I mean, I think that's a good point.
So this is where I'm at with this, right? I hear what you're saying. I can get on board with Mike Davis starting, right?
Right.
But I do not think that takes a single carry away from Montgomery. I think the only reason, and it's a game of chess, the only reason that Davis starts is to relieve the pressure on Montgomery and to relieve the fan basis and the media basis that this dude was our first pick. He was our first fucking pick, but he was number 73. He was 73rd pick overall. So I think 73 is right. For some reason, I got 73 in my head. Either way, whatever. If I'm wrong, fucking tweet me tomorrow and tell me I'm a dumbass. But what I'm saying is that, okay, I'm on board. Sure, Davis starts. That's fine. Davis takes the first 2 plays of the drive.
Yep. Montgomery
comes in as your third down back. Now, however many downs he plays afterwards, who is your starter? Davis. Does it relieve pressure off of Montgomery throughout the season? Because, I don't know, the Bears drafted a starter at running back and he's not really producing, or is it, hey, Davis is doing the veteran thing and getting the yards he needs, and then Montgomery comes off the bench and holy shit, and then here's Cohen doing his thing. I honestly think it's a game of chess. If Montgomery does not start, it's because of that. It's a pressure aspect that lets the kid come in. It lets him maybe think that he is can control the tempo, right? That he's not relied upon. Don't get it twisted. This dude is relied upon to do some shit in this offense. And the only reason that he's not starting is, if he doesn't start, is because of the pressure valve, I think. AC, come over to you, man. What's your thoughts on this whole, Montgomery, Davis, Cohen, or just whole running back situation in general, man?
Well, I think just like Shane has said multiple times, we kind of built this team to be a lot like Philadelphia, bring multiple pass rushers on defense, and on offense, you got a running back by committee. Like you said, Davis could start one game. Montgomery might start one. Hell, Cohen might start one game, just depending on the matchup and what Matt Nagy wants to take advantage of with the defense he's playing that week. And honestly, I think they're all going to get touches. It's not going to be like a, John Fox's offense where it's all Jordan Howard, all day long, and then throw Cohen in there. I think even Cohen will get some runs up the middle. Last year they were talking a lot about defenses being able to see, okay, Cohen's coming in, so they're going to throw it, or they're going to run to the outside. Okay, Howard's coming in, so they're going to run on the inside. You know what I'm saying? All our backs are all able to do everything, run inside, run outside, or catch the ball, so the defense isn't going to be able to guess what's coming at them. So it works out better for us too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think it will be running back by committee. I think you'll see a round robin of things, but and honestly, I didn't even think about any of this pressure shit or rookie thing until KB had brought it up that he thinks Davis is going to start.
Yeah, man.
So
See, it's an interesting thing to think
yeah.
about.
I mean, before this conversation, I was 100% on board with I wanted Montgomery to be the starting back. Now I really don't give a fuck who starts. I would rather Montgomery not be the starting back at this point because of the pressure that's going to be put on the kid. And I'm all for it for him to, come in whenever. I mean, granted, the game's going to dictate, like AC was saying, man, the game's going to dictate. If it's opening drive, we decide to receive, we get to kick, and it's opening drive, and he's not out there, cool. If we kick off and maybe they score on their first drive, and Nagy feels like, oh shit, well, the plays I was going to go with, I'm not going with those anymore because we didn't get the ball first, and now we're down, and I want to come out and attack this way. Well, then cool. But ultimately, when it comes to running backs, with teams that do running backs by committee, I don't know if there's anybody out there that could really tell you how many games this guy started or that guy started. I think they're just looked at as running back by committee, and the reason that they're listed as a starter is because they're out there the first play of offense.
The funny thing about this, Bobby, is you brought this up on Draft on Tap about how David Montgomery was going to be looked at. Was he going to be looked at as the starter? Well, would he be the guy, even though he was a third-round pick? How are people going to view this guy?
Yeah,
and it's just funny how here we are,
3 months later.
Yeah, and we're having the conversation.
Yeah, man, it was the day after the draft, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm just as guilty as I'm saying people are going to be because I want them to do the same thing, right? But then the fan in you wants one thing, and then, like, actually looking at it, you have to sit back and be like, well, wait a second. Like, this kid is drafted at this spot. You know what I mean? He wasn't he wasn't in the top 10. He wasn't even in the first round. Oh, wait, shit. He wasn't in the second round either. Like, but what we're going to expect out of him is it's kind of unfair to the kid, right? Like, here, who had the first pick overall was Arizona, right?
Yep.
One of you tell me who they drafted in the third round with the number 1 pick in the third round. Who did they draft?
No idea.
Exactly. Who did fucking anybody draft?
Wait.
Shut up. Quick
say,
Google.
I thought they picked.
Who did anybody draft in the third round?
He Googled it. I know the Patriots took Winovich in the third round.
I know the ones that were. I know the ones that were right before us or right around us, right? And I know the Patriots got Winovich because we traded with them and whatever, they had our pick. I get it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, in the grand scheme of things, man, nobody's paying. Only the fans of those teams know who they got for real. Unless it's one of our draft on tap guys. Like, sure, I'm sure they could probably ramble off who guys got because they were waiting for certain people to fall, or they were waiting for.
Bellissimo's going to be tweeting you tomorrow.
Oh, I know he will, but that's okay. It's okay. I love George, but I'm just saying he's, in the grand scheme of things, that's where I think we fall with this thing, man. So what? We went to Badge with the camp battle. KB was the running backs. AC, what you got, man? What's your camp battle, or what are you looking at? What are you most interested in seeing in camp that you think might move the scale to one side or another for this team?
This was a tough one for me because there's two that I'm really looking forward to, and they're both pass catchers from Mitch Trubisky. The wide receiver room is stacked, first of all. If he keeps 6, you know what I'm saying? We got Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Anthony Miller, Riley Williams, and Cordero Patterson. Then after that, you got Emmanuel Hall, Marvin Hall, and don't forget, for whatever reason, Matt Nagy loves Taquan Mizell, and they moved him to wide receiver. So he might come into it as well. But the biggest one that I'm thinking of is at the tight end position, and that's with Dax Raymond, the undrafted free agent that they brought in. And I really like his size and his ability. He's great at catching the ball. If they can work on him, getting him to block better, I think he pushes Ben Broniker all the way off the roster. I even heard Hogan Johns, they were talking about how Broniker's contract, I guess, is for $1 million if he's on the roster, and it's half that if he's not on the roster. So Dax Raymond, if he can show in the preseason or in camp that he's able to do everything that they can get out of Ben Broniker, then I don't see why they would keep Broniker when they can have a cheaper option. Hell, he might even push Adam Shaheen if Shaheen's not stepping up on his game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I think that there's. I mean, I thought honestly when I said KB, I think I know who you're going with. I thought KB was going to go tight end.
Tight end, yeah.
I did, and I know we've all talked about it on the side or whatever, but I think that the tight ends is I would say right in the grand scheme of things. I mean I get the whole wide receiver thing. I think we're going to carry 6 also, but I wasn't counting Patterson as a wide receiver. I think they're going to count Patterson somewhere in a utility role or something. I don't know. I mean,
the Trojan man.
Yeah, Trojan man. But but with the whole tight end thing, man, my perspective, right? And I could be totally wrong. I'm sure people disagree. Burton and Shaheen ain't going anywhere. Shaheen's staying. I don't think Shaheen gets
every chance to prove it.
Yeah, I don't think he gets knocked off. I don't think any of that. And then we're down to Jesper Horsted, Ian Bunting, Dax Raymond. Who am I missing? I'm missing some more.
You got Broniker, you got Bradley Soul.
Oh yeah, Bradley Soul moved over there too. And honestly,
that's another one.
I don't.
There's another undrafted kid too. I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, there is. There's another one. Oh, fuck. Whatever. Either way, his name slips my mind. So, I don't think Shaheen's going anywhere. I don't think Burton's going anywhere, right? I think we got if you're looking at the two different types of tight ends, I think we're short a specific one. And if we go Raymond, I don't think that gives us the type that we're looking for. But maybe we're not. Maybe that's Soul. Maybe is it possible that Soul's going to be carried as a tight end but looked at as an offensive lineman?
I don't think he could play offensive lineman right now, dude, honestly.
Well, he might be a hell of a tight end to put in that goal line package. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I know he definitely lost a lot of weight. I know that.
Yeah. And I know I talked to Badge about it. I didn't really like this move. I didn't like the move for him to go to be listed as a tight end. It wasn't. I mean, why? Why do you have to? If he's the last guy on the line, you can report him as eligible.
Right, exactly.
Why do you need to change him into a tight end in order to keep him on the roster? I don't think it's a thing. I get it with Mizell. The running back room is fucking stacked. Like, hey, son, if you want to make this team, we're going to need you to try out as a wide receiver. I get it for that, right? Soul, I don't really get it for. I don't understand the move, unless it's something that
make a catch.
I know he can catch.
In a big game. They say, "Oh, you got a little bit of talent on you,
dude." Yeah, I get it. That's fine. Like, guess what? Your fucking nose tackle can catch, and if he's the last guy on the fucking right side of the line, that bitch could report as eligible.
Yeah,
you could throw the ball to him. So I just don't.
Maybe Soul's looking forward for himself, try to make more money as a tight end than a backup right tackle, right guard, or if he leaves Chicago ever,
Yeah, it's possible, but I 100% agree with you. I think the tight ends is it's the next biggest talk behind the kicker.
Ellis Richardson was the tight end.
Ellis Richardson,
we forgot. Yeah,
that was it. I think that's a good battle. I think you got Burton, right, who's unfortunately hasn't been able to show that he can take any pressure. You got Shaheen, who has shown that he can't take any fucking contact.
Yep.
And then what are you left with? You're left with guys who need to prove themselves in camp. And how many fucking camps over your guys' years of watching football as a tight end ever proved themselves? I think this is more of a preseason thing. I think the coaches are going to run specific things to the tight ends because they're going to focus on making the tight end prove themselves, right? But I think this is more of a preseason thing. And luckily enough, the roster doesn't have to be cut down to 53 before preseason. We get to see these guys in preseason. We get to see what they do. And who knows, there could be some some shockers in there, but I think the tight end group is a good battle to talk about, and I think it's a good battle to keep an eye on, and go from there. I think another one that that we maybe won't be a battle, right? But you got offensive line. I think that we're going to be looking at bringing more guys to the table than we have in the past. Every year we've had an offensive line injury. I know last year everybody's like, yeah, offensive line, or that we didn't have many injuries or whatever, but we suffered some offensive line injuries last year. There's only one dude that just plays snap after snap after snap and hasn't missed one yet. But I think offensive line is another spot where we may, I won't say see some changes. I mean, we know that we're moving White here. We know that stuff, right? But
Yep.
I'm saying some changes in schemes, some changes in overall dynamic of what we're trying to get at here. I mean, we're looking at Heastand's second year, right? It's another year in the system for him. So the vets are kind of used to what he does now, or his style and way to go get after things. But then we also brought in two guys from Notre Dame. We brought in fucking Mustafer, who's a center, a backup center, and I think he plays a lot of guard. And then we brought in Alex Bars.
Yeah. Yep.
Those dudes have been with him for 3-4 years, and now they're here with him again. So I won't say that there's going to be favoritism, right? But I'm willing to say that these rookies are going to teach the veterans a little something about how he stands and works. Badge, I'll throw that one over to you. I don't know, man. I mean, it could be maybe not really a big camp battle because, again, quarterback can't be touched, whatever. Right. There might not be much that we see in camp from the offensive linemen, but cuts are going to have to be made soon. Do you think these guys from Notre Dame bring anything to the table to help our veterans, or do you think that this is just, hey, I'm in a totally new system now. I like you because you showed talent, and this isn't college anymore, son. You need to step it up.
I don't know, man. I mean, I look at it. I shouldn't say I don't know, but I look at those two guys being under Heastand. There's a reason they were brought here. To me, you look at Kyle Long. Could this be it for him this year? There's a spot. You know what I mean? To me, I think the offensive line is a big battle. I mean, they brought Ted Larson back. You've got Rashad Coward, who moved from the defensive line to the offensive line last year. You've got Cornelius Lucas, Joe Lowry. That's another name. I think we talked about Lowry, one of our shows a few months back. He's a big dude, man. He's 6'7". That's a big dude.
Lucas too. Lucas.
Yeah,
is
Lucas
fucking
is
humongous.
Yeah. He's 6'9". Yeah, he's 6'9". So, I mean, these guys, I really think, I don't think, obviously, you're going to see any of the starters replaced, but I mean, this year, now next year, I mean, if you see somebody, have a kind of a down year, we all know Bobby Massey's a little bit of a slow starter. They might be a little more apt to pull a quick trigger. I mean, I know he just signed a new deal and whatnot, but I think this is a big battle to watch. I don't, not so much inside. I mean, with Kyle Long being, maybe they're looking for the next guy to take Long's spot. But, Leno Massey, I know they just signed new deals, last year, right? But,
yeah.
You look back and you watch some tape, some of the effort there from Massey and Leno. I love Leno. I think, guy hasn't missed a game. He's a gamer. He's a baller. Congratulations to him. White hair. Massey, Leno and Massey got married. Whitehair's having a baby. I mean, big ups to those guys. But they're really going to have to hold their own here with these young guys. These guys are hungry. You want to be on an NFL roster. I could definitely see those, a couple of these guys sticking around on the practice squad. But don't be surprised if you see one of them, IR'd because they don't want to lose them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what I was honestly surprised about was I thought with the whole Fox to Nagy change, right? I thought that we'd be getting a different I won't say a different dynamic, right? But you know how how defensive coordinators or defense, like say DB coaches, they like their certain size and body type. I thought we would see that with the offensive line.
With Easton, like knowing his type is what you're saying, right? Like
exactly. And Nagy, like more so on the Nagy front, right? I thought he'd be like, hey, no, I need my outside zone to be quicker. I need this to go like this. I need the inside zone like this. I need pass, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Anything you want to talk about, but I just thought that those guys might be, casualties of a new system, like you see in a lot of places. Leno, I honestly think Leno is the unsung hero of the fucking offensive line.
Yeah, man.
This dude, I don't even know how many snaps he's at right now. But he hasn't missed a snap in years.
No. Which is insane, man, especially at that left tackle spot. I mean, you just don't really see that.
I know. He's like the quiet assassin, man. And he chills, he does his thing. And Leno, for those of you that don't, he was mic'd up the other day. Old Chuck was mic'd up. Look at whatever Bears app you use or whatever the hell it's called. But they got him mic'd up on there, and him and Whitehair are, having a good time. And he talks about Lucas. He talks about like Jesus, you were 200 and how many pounds and this big? Like he's, he said he's just a beast of a man to try to get through or get around. Because they do that. They have the offensive line go up against the offensive line, and they try to, to beat each other, which is something else I thought maybe it was just that day. Just something I thought was weird. Why would you have an offensive lineman try to beat an offensive lineman? Like that dude's skill really isn't the set that you're looking for, right?
Yeah, that is a little different.
Right? Like, I mean, why not take your backup defensive lineman and have him try to beat your offensive line? I don't know. That part I found weird in the video, but who knows? I'm sure there's a method to the madness, and I'm just not part of it. But we got a lot of dudes in that position. We have a lot of dudes in that offensive lineman position that are, I want to say, are fighting for spots. And I think we might see a couple that we weren't expecting. Like you said, Lowry.
Yeah.
I've DM'd with Lowry a couple times back and forth. And I don't know the dude. I can't say that I know him or that I can, what he's telling me is true. I don't know, but he says things are going great.
Yeah.
Like coaches were impressed or this and that, and had a good day here, good day there. That he left an impression on people. A lot of these dudes, like there's a lot of praise coming out, right? But all you can't make it. So
right, exactly.
What the hell is going to happen?
Yeah.
And like we said, camp is more of it's the offense's time to shine, right? You don't see the defense shine. I know we talked about a little earlier where they tell Mitch to throw it here, throw it there. Let's see what they do. But it's the offensive time to shine, and there's a lot of passing going on. Miller was our breakout camp god last year, making wild catches, and look what he put on the field. Something that you hadn't seen in years before, right? Because our breakout camp guys would be Gentry, and these guys who didn't even end up making the team. I mean, they made the practice squad. I won't say they didn't make the team, but, they start a game here and there. Gentry started, I think, the Tampa Bay game that year, but either way, it's more of an offensive mindset when it comes to it. So I don't know. I mean, KB, I'll come to you with camp being the whole offensive mindset. Are you expecting to see anything out of the defense in camp where after kicker, after some of the talk of the offense, I think people are really going to be focusing on Pagano's defense, and I don't know what we're going to get out of it, man. What do you think? Are we going to get anything out of Pagano in the defense in training camp?
Or as far as Pagano goes, the things I'm looking for, man, I do want to know how his scheme is, what the tweaks are on his scheme. I would love to know, what he really prefers to do, like what kind of coverages he does with his DBs, what makes him such, what makes him the DB whisperer. Now, the one thing I don't want to hear about is, oh my God, this isn't Vic Fangio. We're gonna be screwed. We're not. He and Vic worked on the same staff at one point. I'm not worried about Pagano. So I want to know what type of schemes he's scheming up for the DBs, what positions he putting them in. If he likes to use more of a two safety set, or if he likes to have one safety back single high. You know what I'm saying? I want to know how that works. I want to know what he does with his linebackers. See how they play. They play different coverages. Those are the things I'm looking to see and what I want to hear.
Honestly, have a whole breakdown on this Pagano Vic thing, but I don't think you guys know. I'm going to be going on Hunter Proof this week, and I'm going to bring it up on there.
Breaking news.
Breaking. But I'm going to bring it up on there, man, because I think there's some things that are just not talked about that we need to address. And Pagano versus Vic, I think it's a lot of overreaction and unnecessary things that people are going after. And granted, are they going to do the same thing that they did last year? No, I don't think they will. I think people are going to say, oh, look, they took a step back. Whatever, dude. Like, okay. I think they're going to take a step up in sacks. I think they're going to probably take a step up. What did we have? 34 interceptions last year. We might come close. to interceptions, right? I think we're going to give up more points. I think when you play aggressive, you give up more points. But that's okay, as long as you're still putting up the points on the other side, right? I think there's a time to play. I think there's a time to play aggressive and a time not to play aggressive. And I think Pagano
This was my thing. What's considered a step back? This is the thing that's also been getting to me.
I'm talking about the stat line, dog. Like the stat line. Like, will you produce? Like, if we look at the end of the year, we look at yards allowed, we look at points allowed, we look at third downs converted. I think we'll do better there. We look at sacks. I think we'll do better there. We look at interceptions. I think we'll be close, but I don't think we're going to reach it, right? And I think the fucking stat nerds are going to turn around and be like, well, see, they had a drop-off because out of the however many, 8 or 9 defensive stats, they only surpassed 4 of them. You know what I mean? I don't think that it's going to be a legitimate, like, oh my gosh, they're horrible. And see, Vic isn't here. I think to the naked eye, it's going to be a lot less detectable than what we think.
I hate that so many people are talking about Vic Fangio to Pagano. It's not like we're bringing Mel Tucker in. It's just some random guy. You know, this dude, he coached the Baltimore Ravens when they had a great defense. He coached the Colts, and they had a really good defense. And they would have been better had he had more talent. And guess what? Vic Fangio did not hold out a football, make Khalil Mack, make Akeem Hicks, make all these defensive guys touch it and suck their talents in and take it to Denver. We still got all that talent on that defense. We're going to be just fine.
I'll be honest. As long as we win a Super Bowl, I don't give a shit. I mean, they can drop, in any total, as long as that Lombardi trophy comes home. Stats, I'm just not a stat guy, I'm listening to this show before being on it, listening to the bar room, listening to Phil, Shane, Aldo. Yeah. These guys watch the tape, and Phil breaks it down every goddamn game. Like, it's to me, it doesn't matter. It's all, all the narrative that the media is trying to spin to draw attention, to make something up for something to talk about. I get it. But to me, none of that matters. If we give up more yards, more points, but that we bring back that Lombardi trophy, I'm good, man. I'm totally okay with it. And I think that'll show, and I think that's a benefit to the offense too, to spin it the other way. You know what I mean? Like, now the offense is going to have to really kind of take the lead, and put up points to help the defense out. And going back to Bears 100 weekend and listening to the press conference today and listening to the things that Nagy has said over the course of the last few months, man, this offense is ready to go. They're ready to take flight, and it's all about Mitch. And I really think so, the defense could falter a little bit, but the offense is going to be there to pick them up this time around.
So, look, I know I'm kind of beating around the bush because I was kind of trying to, I guess I was. I was kind of trying to save some stuff, right?
Yeah.
This is my deal. I don't care what you give up. Give up more.
Yeah, man.
Give up more yards. Give up more points. Whatever, right?
Yep.
Don't give up more wins.
Right.
And don't give up a fucking 23-3 lead in the third quarter.
Ooh.
Like, let's not fucking do that.
Yep.
Let's not play fucking so like
conservative,
cautionary, conservative. Like, dude, I'll give you a little taste, right? You guys and anybody listening, whatever, I'm going to say it on 100 proof, but I'm not going to give you the numbers right now. But if you really want to look at it, and everybody who thinks Vic Fangio is the mad genius, right? Go look at how many fourth quarter points we gave up this year. Go check it out. I can tell you the number right now, but I'm not going to.
The defense was horrible in the fourth.
Go look up
the Patriots
Go
game,
look
man.
up the fucking fourth quarter points we gave up this year, and then do this. Go look up the first, second, and third quarter points we gave up this year. And just tell me if those are uncomfortably close to you. Fucking, like, for 3 quarters, you can come out here and do your thing. And motherfuckers want to call you a mad genius. I get it. I have respect for Vic. I think he did fucking great. I think Vic, for fucking 3 quarters of every game, fucking did awesome. But you're telling me that, not you guys, but either way, that he's a mad genius when that amount of points was given up in the fourth quarter throughout regular season and playoffs. Add the fucking playoffs in too. I don't give a fuck. But dude, it's like so close to each other. Like, I'm not talking like single digits, so don't get me wrong, but I'm talking like if your team went into a game and you were down that many points going into the second half and your team was solid, you'd be like, oh, we can make that back. Right? Like, that's how fucking close it is. And it's not really blowout status. It's not to where you think if you add up, what do we got? Fucking 16 games times 3, 48 fucking quarters, right? You got 48 quarters to 16. And the numbers are way too fucking close for my liking. That's what I'm going to get into when we talk about it on 100 proof. I just don't see how people say mad genius. I don't see how people, I mean, granted, pay him respect. That's okay. I'm totally fucking fine with that.
Absolutely.
Dude, like, was the guy good? Yeah, he was fucking good. What, did he turn some fucking, like, above average defenses into fucking really good defenses? Yes. Did he turn a fucking really good defense into a great one? Sure. But let's not pretend like the fucking players don't matter.
Exactly.
The players make that fucking system work. The guy, like, that's it. And when you decide to take steps that lighten the ability of the people that you call fucking all-stars, that's probably where the mad part of genius comes in.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking stupid. And that's just where I'm at with that thing, man. I mean, I like Vic. I've called him the fucking Godfather. I think he did great with the defense. I think that dudes respected him. I think he brought people back off that were on the ledge of, like, potentially getting traded away for fucking pennies. And he brought him back to stellar seasons. I think he's a great fucking development of personality, of character, of fucking potential. But I think his decisions and calling ability when the game is on the line are not that of a said mad genius. And that's where I'll fucking leave that thing.
He took the pressure off.
All I got to say about that.
It is for real though. But I mean, I'll get into some of that shit later. Let's talk. I mean, let's move it. So going from Vic, right? We got the defensive coaching changes, man. Maybe effects will be seen they'll be seen in the preseason. I really don't think they're going to be seen in camp, right? But we said it earlier, right? We got Deshae Townsend, great mind in himself, right? Player on the field, did fucking awesome. And then we got Chuck Pagano. We got Chucky P saying, no, if you got 52 going this way, you're already doing better. Pressure is great for DBs, 100%. Pressure is great for defensive backs. You get pressure on the quarterback, you got to get rid of the ball quicker, and your DBs don't have to stay in coverage as long. Also, sending pressure from everywhere leaves gaps somewhere. We all know that, right? You throw fucking everybody at them, and nobody's dropping back into coverage. You don't have that guy who can maybe bat down that underneath route, or is making a quarterback think twice, or maybe making him sail the ball because he's got to get it over this guy's head and in front of this guy to get to that guy. It's a whole mind game that you can play with anybody. Right. Badge, will come over to you, man. What do you think these coaches in particular are going to bring to the table? Are we going to see changes, but are we going to see DBs and how they're being built and how they, run a system? Or do you think we're just going to see minor and, minuscule changes that maybe don't show much of a difference?
I think it's a combination. I think there'll be minor changes. I mean, we know already that, Vic liked to use his nickel to blitz and whatnot, where Chuck is more of a sending a safety kind of guy. So right there, it's a small change, but how does it affect everything overall? I really don't believe Chuck and Vic are that far off. First of all, I love Townsend. Watching him as a player, I mean, the dude balled out. He was a phenomenal player, and he's obviously turned that into a very good coaching career. So I was excited to see him come here, man. But as far as Chuck and Vic, I don't think the changes are going to be that drastic where, it looks like a whole new defense is on the field. I think you're going to see a lot of the same. I mean, he came out right in his first presser and told us, some of the terminology is different. It's the overall scheme is the same. So yeah, it's learning new terms, but I really don't think you'll see that big of a change overall from Chuck and Deshae to Vic and Ed Donatel personally.
With Chuck, one spot that I think people, I know we're talking about it and I know people have, but you don't hear it much, that I think Chuck might have an advantage, right? Like we'll go advantage Pagano on this one over Fangio, is that Khalil's been here now. Yeah. He's going to be through camp. He's been in the system, right? Roquan's not holding out. Roquan's been in the system. Danny T's playing for his contract here. Leonard Floyd, you heard on the presser today that Leonard Floyd's been the most impressive one so far. If Pagano brings, imagine him bringing a linebacker core to a further step than what Fangio had him at. Dude, like this specific linebacker.
Yeah, man.
Like imagine like these guys taking the next step, and it's not a long shot to think about. Like, but he could take another step. I don't think it's out of the question, but I think it's probably something people could debate about, and you could find a winner on either side, right? But Roquan, Leonard Floyd, Khalil Mack, can these guys take another step?
Roquan, man, like the stuff that came out on Twitter, I think Shane had it in his dumbest tweets of the week this past week about Roquan. The kid missed training camp. Like the kid's a baller, dude. There's no way this kid is not gonna fucking.
This guy, look at this guy lost. This guy lost his fucking playbook and had the most tackles on the team.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, how can anybody not think that this kid is gonna go to the next level? Seeing what they saw last year, it's right there in front of your face. Put the fucking film out and watch and just look at this kid. I'm telling you, Pro Bowl year. If he's not the defensive player of the year, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. Let's roll over to KB. KB, Advantage. Let's go advantage. I know I just spit a little at you with advantage Pagano over Fangio. You can stick with the linebacking core. You can do whatever the fuck you want because it's you. I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying you give me where you think, and it could be disadvantage. You give me where you think we're going with advantage or disadvantage Pagano.
Okay, so I'm I'm going with advantage. Okay, and yes, I am going to stick
Damn
here
straight,
with
you wouldn't have been on the show next week, son. Okay.
my thing is that Pagano has an assistant who's basically the Ed Donatel to Vic, but for him, and he works for linebackers. So I'm gonna give a slight advantage to Pagano in that area. That he has a long time assistant that's known to get the most out of his linebackers when you know what I'm saying during the season with sacks and all that stuff. So I feel like Pagano's got the advantage with that, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's I don't know. I think there's a lot of things. AC, man, like you look at this defense, dude, and what's your take on the linebackers, man? Do you think it's Pagano? Do you think it's Vic? What's your thought, dude?
Well, basically, for our linebacker crew, we've got so much talent, man. I don't see how we can fall off from Vic Fangio to Chuck Pagano. Obviously, Khalil Mack is a top 1 or 2 defensive player in the league to me. On the other side, they said he's been showing out already. You know, I'm a Kentucky boy, so I love me some Danny Trevathan. And then Roquan Smith is one of the most underrated linebackers in the entire league, in my opinion. I mean, everybody that talked about our defense last year, you know, they talked about Mack and Hicks and Jackson because they were making all these, you know, these big standout plays. But quietly, Roquan Smith, like you said, was leading the team in tackles. So I love me a tackling machine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I really don't see. I see people saying like, okay, Vic Pagano. Okay, got it. I can't see the defensive line taking a step back. I see guys that are developed in another year. I see a fucking, you know, a stoic veteran in damn Akeem Hicks, the linebackers. I see guys that are already taking steps to another year. You know, more time in reps, more time in everything, taking a step to another year. The defensive backs. I see Prince. We've talked about Prince. I see Kyle. I think Kyle, although got a long-term contract, I think every year for Kyle's a prove-it year. I think at any point we can cut bait on Fuller. Not that I want to, but I think if you go backwards and you go into some of the, you know, previous years played, I think at any time we can cut bait on Fuller. I don't think we can really replace him, right? But we can't replace the talent level that he produced last year. We can replace the talent level that he produced, you know, 3 years ago. And then on DBs, we got Haha bought on 1 year. We got Eddie. He's going to need an extension. He's going to need a contract soon. But nothing's really changed. The nucleus of everything is there, and everything is going to take a step and get better. This whole fucking, you're playing the, what is it called? Not the number 1, but you're playing a harder schedule. Are you really, though? I mean, every year somebody goes from worst to first. Every year somebody goes from worst to first, and guess what? Every year somebody goes from first to worst.
Yep.
In at least one division. I'm not going to say every first goes to worst, right? And I'm not going to say every worst goes to first, but because we all know the fucking Detroit Lions. But either way, dude, like, you're not really playing the fucking who the number 1 teams are going to be this year. I think if you actually believe that, you know, you need to take a hard look at years past and the way that teams fall out and the way that people win the division. I mean, the only repeat division winners are the Patriots. I mean, who else?
Because their division sucks.
Yeah, but who else continuously like no competition sits on top. I mean, even Seattle in a division where I honestly think they should fucking destroy every year. They buy in on a wild card. They buy in on little shit. You know what I mean? And I don't mean by I just mean by their talent alone. I think Seattle's always been a good team. I think Pete Carroll's a great fucking coach, but I think Seattle should always crush that division with Wilson. But they don't. You know, they have tough times. I don't think this first place schedule thing's that big of a deal, because guess what? Are the fucking first in the NFC North. And after those games, how many games do you really need to win to get in the fucking or to get into the playoffs? There's
2, 3.
Yeah, there's not much after that. And I want to say, I think Shane said it was a combined total points that we lost games by last year was 15.
Yeah,
and
dude.
This is something that we
I
brought
saw
up
that on Twitter.
Yeah, this is something that we brought up fucking last year before the season even started. The games that we've lost have been by a touchdown or less. And this is not last year. I'm talking about the year before that. I'm talking in the Fox fucking era too.
John Fox era, yeah.
Yeah, there's games where, I mean, this team was, and I know for people that have listened for a long time, I know they've heard me say it, but play to their opponent's potential. And I think that's something that we're really going to see different this year. I don't think we're going to play to our opponent's potential anymore. I think we're going to get out there and we're just going to fucking get after people and, you know, do what we need to do and like put games away. And I mean, either way, I think we're going to put teams away, and I think we're going to see a lot. If Mitch does not go over 4,000 yards, it's because he's not needed to play in certain quarters of games because we're fucking destroying teams.
I agree.
That's my only, when people say, oh, he's definitely going to go over 4,000. And I'm on the 4,000 train too. Don't get me wrong. But I think that if he does not go over 4,000, it's going to be because we're destroying teams and he does not, and his playing time gets taken away because of that. I mean, it's another year in the offense, right? We're going with the fucking Matt and Mitch show. Nagy and fucking Trubisky, another year. We've all heard it, 2.0. And there's steps to be taken. And, you know, we're looking at things here that are supposed to be big. Nagy said today in the presser, I know we keep going back to it, but hey, it happened, an hour and a half ago. He's implementing things that he was not ready to implement, that he thought was going to be like mid-season, that were going to be like week 3 type things. He's implementing things in his offense that just because Mitch is ready for them. And that he feels like, hey, we're moving even faster now than I thought we would be moving, and these things are coming in hot. I mean, when I heard it, I was kind of like, fuck yeah, but then I was, you know, the fan in me said, fuck yeah, and then the other side of me was like, wait, are we putting too much on the kid too fast? What do you think, man? Do you think the second year, I mean, if the kid's ready, you feed him, or do you think it's like, no, let's be perfectionists and be fucking great at this before we do anything else? What's your thoughts?
I think, you know, let Matt Nagy feed him if he thinks he's ready for it. You know, give it to him and see what he can handle. I say if, you know, well, I don't know how much he'll play in the preseason. I would say test it out then, but, you know, we don't play starters that much. But he's going to see something and say, okay, he wasn't ready for that. Scale it back a little bit. But I see Mitch taking a big step this year. I think he's going to prove a lot of doubters wrong. It's his second year in the offense. Like Nagy said multiple times, last year he was learning the offense. This year he's learning what the defense is trying to do to stop your offense. So, and Mitch is all, you know, everybody says he's the hardest worker. He's the first one there, the last one to leave, you know, all those cliche things. And he's going to learn in the film room and study up. And I just see him taking a huge leap forward this year and shutting everybody up.
I hope so, man. I mean, I think that's what we're all hoping for. I mean, we'll kick this thing around. I want to get into a little to camp dates and let people know what dates, you know, what's going on, you know, where at camp. Badge, I do have one thing that I want to kind of throw your way. Helfrich.
Yeah.
Right? We haven't really heard anything.
I know, dude.
I think we all are, even though, I mean, I don't want to shit on the guy, and I don't think I really will by saying this, but even though we all know who the offensive coordinator of this team is, I think we all know that the head coach is the actual, right?
Without a
Like
doubt.
the offensive coordinator actual. What is this position, or what? I mean, what is he bringing to the table? What do you think? Is he just learning? Is he just going to be part of Nagy's tree, and eventually he's going to have to go out on his own to prove himself? Because is he ever really going to be seen as an offensive coordinator under Matt Nagy?
I mean, I definitely think he has a role and he knows his role, and I definitely think he is a big helping hand for Mitch, him and Dave Ragone. He did speak at Bears 100, but that's honestly the last time I really heard him, have anything to say. I think he has that same kind of mindset as Nagy. They're both kind of I don't want to say mad scientists, but they've got that creative play type gene. You saw it with him in Oregon, and it was,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he had that creative mindset, and I think Nagy likes that aspect of having the opportunity to talk to somebody that has that similar mindset to him. And I think that's, a lot of these plays that are being drawn up, Santa's sleigh, the fridge, the T formation. I think that's a combination of both of those guys really working together and, helping this offense grow. And I'm okay not having the offensive coordinator out there not shooting his mouth off, but I'm okay with him staying in the background. Let Coach Nagy handle, the upfront stuff. We'll hear from him in training camp, but I'm good with him. I'm good with, any of the other assistants not being in the forefront of things when it comes to talking about the offense, because you don't want to see them slip up.
Yeah, but so here's my issue, right? And I love fucking Nagy. I like everything he brings to the team, right? But I'm gonna do the devil's advocate thing, and I'm gonna throw something at you guys. So he's got an offensive coordinator.
Yep.
His job is the head coach. How come we never hear anything like, well, me and Helfrich are putting in this, or we are doing this, or, Coach Helfrich drew up this play and it was fucking this. And I was like, hey, we're going to call it Santa's sleigh. Or maybe my issue isn't so much that, I guess it's just that I don't see him getting the recognition, right?
Yeah,
and I don't see his weight.
I just think it's a culture thing, dude. Honestly, you hear Nagy talk about the we and be you and all these things, and I hear Nagy say we a lot in terms of the offense. So I just think it's them looking at it as they're a group, as a team, and not really, I think everybody's taking credit for it.
Yeah, I get it, man, and I don't know, maybe it's just a thing, right? But
it is weird. It's different.
I'm not gonna take a shot at Nagy's leadership. Well, here's my overall issue, right? Matt Nagy, 100% great leader of men, right? He's turned the team around. I agree with the perspective that Shane has put out there, and Phil have said, that it started with Fox, and Fox changed up the locker room and changed up the culture, and I won't say change up the culture, but change up the personalities, and Nagy brought the culture. What bothers me is that I've never heard hey, Mark and I were doing this. Mark and I were doing that. And I think that's something that the coach, Helfrich, in his own right, he should get. He should get maybe a little acknowledgement. He should get a little, a little something, a little talk. And instead, it kind of has come down to that, like, Nagy's the end all be all, the only one providing any sort of offensive mind to this team. And I mean, maybe that's a way that we keep him for years, but it's also a way to cripple him. And I think that there should
Yeah.
probably be a little more. Go ahead, KB. What you got?
I was gonna say, man, see, because I always felt that when we had first made the signing, and when it was originally talked about, that it was always gonna be, oh, well, he came from a primarily of a spread scheme, and he's supposed to mix it in with Nagy's, what I'm saying, the West Coast philosophy. We got this West Coast spread thing going on, but I'm with you on that. We don't hear much from Helfrich outside of the couple of, pressers that he might get to speak at. And then it's always, so what do you really do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
what
but
is
and
your real job here? So I understand
yeah,
what
and
you
ultimately just acknowledge dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, give the dude a shout out. Acknowledge the motherfucker. If he's bringing all that to the table and he's helping you and you are literally working fucking hand in hand to do something, acknowledge his presence. Say something about him that lets the fan know that this guy is, he's carrying his buckets. He's holding his weight. He's got what he's got, and he's an asset to this team. But I really don't think we see that, and it bothers me. I don't know if it's a coaching thing or if it's whatever, but you always acknowledge your coaches, man. You acknowledge the guys who help you. You acknowledge your players. You acknowledge the people who got you there. And it's something that I think is lacking. But I mean, overall, that's really it. I wanted to get it out there. I wanted to say something about it. If you guys got anything, you go ahead and fire away. For those of you who don't know, Badge had to leave us. Badge had to go take care of some family stuff. He's gonna go pick up his daughter from work. But if you guys got anything, you guys feel free to fire away. I'm gonna roll down the fucking camp dates and go through what's going on every day for people to know and hear. And hopefully I have the right thing. I think I do, but you guys go ahead. Any shout outs or anything you got, go ahead, fire away.
I just wanted to cover with the Helfrich thing real quick. Like Badge was saying, Nagy says we a lot, and I think that helps him set the example for his players because he expects them to be the same way. And also, if this offense takes off this year the way we all hope it does, maybe he's trying to keep Helfrich and Ragone around longer than 1 year or 2 years to continue to grow it. Because, everybody, it's a copycat league. Everybody's looking for that next Coach Nagy, that next Andy Reid, that next offensive mind, it seems like. So maybe he's just trying to keep them around longer than a year or so.
Trying to bury him. Maybe he's trying to do like we're going to do with some of these guys on the squads. And we're going to say they have injuries and we're going to bury him on, on the pup list or on the IR. And, they're going to sit and not play because we're going to hold them out. But that's okay. I just think that, I don't know, maybe it's just me, man. I just think that the guys should get a little bit of acknowledgement, maybe by name, something here and there. Maybe talk him up, maybe say, what he's doing with these guys has been special. Shit, I don't know, man. I'm just saying at this point, I think that there should be a little something that goes into what he brings to the table, and I think that's something that we're really missing. KB, what about you, man? You got any shout outs or anything before we cut out of here?
Man, just the typicals, man. Shout out to our fans, man. It's the back end is huge, and everybody listens to the pod has to know it's all the love, man. It's appreciated, man. We love all y'all. I love you boys, man. I'm happy we finna get ready to start talking football again, and shout out to 100 Proof, man, getting Phil back. That was big. So love the fans, love the group, man. Just so much good feelings going around for everybody, man. Start of football, man. We gotta be happy.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'll hit my shout outs and then I'll go over some camp dates. Mr. Gandia Aldo, congrats on the wedding, man. His wife got married this week. Or not his wife. That'd be fucking weird. His daughter got married. His daughter got married this weekend. Congrats to her. Congrats to her husband. He's a big, I don't know if he's a big barfly, but he's a big Barroom supporter. Draft Dr. Phil, welcome back to the Barroom. All you guys that have been hitting me up with DMs and sending me shit and like, hey, when's the show coming? When's this? When's that? I told you it'd be right before camp starts, so here we are. There's not a lot, there's not a lot to keep people's interest going and to talk about on the off days. And honestly, I don't want to just put out something that isn't fucking good. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put out something that you guys are going to listen to that's like, yeah, it's the same shit, same old, same old. I don't want to do that. These guys don't want to either. We've all talked about it. We weren't going to put out shows just for fucking airtime. That's not the way we're looking at this. We want to put out something that actually, gives you an honest opinion and brings something to the table and maybe makes you think outside the box and brings a different perspective to the way that that you see the Bears right now, or the way that you think the team is going, and maybe you hear something and you're like, holy shit, that'd be awesome. But we definitely appreciate all you guys listening. Mr. Marsaw, Shane, the money man, the fucking deliver the mail. He's always there, man. Dude's been fucking killing it. We talk a lot outside of shows and that, and appreciate the friendship and the fucking, the interactions and everything. And without further ado, I'm going to run down this list here of camp dates. I'm sure we're missing a lot of people, but hey, the season's young and we got a lot of people to hit up. So we got Friday. So, tomorrow everybody reports, but tomorrow's physicals and doctor evals and a bunch of that shit. So Friday, first practice, July 26th, 3 p.m. practice. It's closed to the public. Ain't nobody getting in. Saturday, 27th of July, 8:15 a.m. practice. It's open. Sunday, 28th July. So we got an 8:15 again, and it's the first practice in full pads. Even though Nagy said he doesn't think they're going full pads on Sunday, this is what they're reporting from the website. Monday, 8:15 a.m. practice. Tuesday, July 30th, 9:15, but practice is closed to the public. Wednesday, the 31st, is an off day. And we come back on Thursday, August 1st with an 8:15. Friday, an 8:15. Saturday, we're going with a 7 p.m. practice at Soldier Field for that big-time family fest. We know our Gaines, our brother Gaines, Big Tyler Ellis. He's going to be there with his family on Saturday the 3rd. Sunday, August 4th, is an off day. There will be no football that day. Monday, August 5th, is a day that I'm looking forward to. Actually got a little invite to this one from the PR department. It's an 8:15 a.m. practice, and it's Military Appreciation Day. They're going to bring the military guys out on the field. You'll get to talk to people, do your thing, and it's just a good thing. I mean, when you have Soldier Field, you probably should do this. But either way, all around the board, every team, I think, should do this. And then they follow it up with another hard-hitting day on August 6th. Again, at 8:15, it's First Responders Day for all first responders, firefighter, policemen, and EMTs. So emergency medical technicians, all you guys, everybody's invited to First Responders Day. We're back here Wednesday, August 7th. It's a walkthrough, but it's closed to the public. Thursday, August 8th, Panthers at the Bears, 7 p.m. That's the fucking first start. That's the preseason game. Panthers and the Bears are coming together. Friday, August 9th, day off. Saturday, 8:15 practice. Sunday, August 11th, 8:15 practice. And that's it. So August 10th, I believe that everything stops, but Sunday is actually the very last one. It's a wrap-up. I think that's where they do a lot of the, hey, you did good. I want to see this from you, see that from you, but it's closed to the public. I know we did shout-outs. I know I ran through the camp schedule. I plan on coming home, honestly, August 4th, and I'm going to be at Military Appreciation Day on the 5th. I know tickets are free, but they said they gave me free tickets, so either way, congrats. And then I'm going to go to every practice thereafter, walkthroughs, and plan to be at that Thursday, Panthers at Bears. Barflies, everybody, we enjoy you guys, coming out, listening. Should be hitting you guys tomorrow morning, early Monday maybe. Anything you got. If you got any comments, concerns, anything you want us to touch on that we haven't touched on, the DMs are open at the Barfly Tailgate Show, the original Barfly Tailgate Show. Hit us up. Let me know, man. You guys something? You like something? You don't like something? Like, whatever. I'm open. I'm open for criticism. I'm open for everything. So come at it. You want to come on the show, you want to talk your shit, you want to do a little something, come at it there too. I'm good with it. We appreciate you guys listening, joining in, and like always, we'll just end it with a big bear down.
Bear down.
Bear down, boys.